Hi, everybody. After this week's readings and videos, something that kind of stood out to me as to how the Civil War era affects our lives today was how many acts were passed during the time to help for the future government. One specifically that just stands out for me is um, the Tenure of Office Act of 1867, and that required Senate approval to move somebody or appoint or remove an official. And not necessarily that that one stood out because of any certain event, but just how they brought it up due to essentially mishandling. Somebody just didn't like something, so they just took it upon themselves to remove somebody. So it's an added layer of protection for our country as a whole, in my opinion. And I think that there have been many acts to follow that kind of help build on that. And I'm sure more that will come as we continue to progress into the future. Um, Also, um, politically, culturally, um, race, color, skin color, that of the time. It seems like the primary motive for the Civil War was so that way the the South could keep their slaves, and the North didn't really want to promote that anymore. Um, and today, while we don't have slavery, we still have a lot of racism, um, which going through history and like reading through this and how we acquired and where we acquired, um, like what parts of the world we acquired the United States from, um, just was really interesting to me. I think my thought is living in today's world and like applying today's culture to then. I can't remember the word, but I think that was like week one of one of those videos. Um, so I've been trying to not really think about it like that, but it's kind of hard to do because I just couldn't imagine living in a time where that still existed. But again, if I was alive during that time, it would be all I know. So, um, outside of that, though, there are still struggles with racism, people of color having difficulties in their lives, even though they have all the same freedoms that we that everyone else has. They fought for those, and rightfully so, they have them. But it doesn't stop some of those older beliefs from coming to light. Um, what would it be like now if we didn't have some of these events? Would we still have slaves? The North, or excuse me, the South really wanted to expand west and have the right to take their slaves with them. So had the Civil War not occurred, would we have more slave territories headed west? Like, would we live in one? So that would be something to consider. Um, who in history would have would they have even at all fought for the rights that have been given since then? Um, would we or would the United States be as large as it is? Would we have acquired more or less? It seems like during the Civil War, I believe it was Mexico was trying to take back part of the land that we had acquired. So would that have ever happened? Would they have been able to um, take over if we weren't preoccupied? Um, or, I mean, if we weren't preoccupied, they probably wouldn't have. But I don't know. It's interesting to see how that, or to think about how things could be different. So, yeah, I look forward to hearing everybody else's thoughts.